And we're live. Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, happy time zones wherever you might be. I'm Emma and welcome back to the House of Hubris here on twitch.tv/Saracent. Welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, which I will not pronounce so pretentiously probably ever again in this stream. Yeah, this game's a lot, y'all. If you were here last time, you would have seen us starting to read a book. This game is largely a book, but it's a good book. In which we did our entire childhood as Emilio Brante, which, since the pun was pointed out to me, I very much appreciate. Yeah, our childhood in the Archnean Empire, born into half in, half out of a noble house, born into a life of prescribed and religiously fetishized suffering, but very determined. What was it? Adamant yet inattentive, which, mood. We learned how to fence, we became a teenager, we got in a fight. Actually, are we even a teenager yet? Because our childhood, quote-unquote, ended when we were, like, 12. I guess just after that is when teenagerhood happens. Anyway, I'm going to stop saying words now because I continue to sound like an idiot, and we'll just get on with it. Content warnings before we go on. This game deals with a lot of fairly heavy topics. I mean, we've already dealt with physical child abuse, death. But death is slightly less permanent here, so it's treated very interestingly. Lots and lots of classism and kind of oppressive social structures. And probably other stuff that I don't know about because I haven't got there yet. Emilio, Chapter 2, Adolescence. Okay, yeah, we're 11. Oh yeah, childhood ended at 8. That was it. But now... Does that sound about right? It sounds a bit loud to me. Well, let me know if it's off, and I will do what I can. A dropped handkerchief. Hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anizot prefer to remain in their chambers, while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. Oh yeah, I forgot there was a giant tree over this city. You're on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance, and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of you are inseparable now, because that's what happens when you get into a fight with an 8-year-old boy. Provided you are also an 8-year-old boy. I feel that works less well if you're 23. I do not take life advice from me, ever. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anizot where the nobles live. So, here you are, in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. Now I need to start to try and remember what the hell these people have sounded like. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy you goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer. Yes, the lots are a big thing, for those of you who didn't see last time. Society is divided into 3 lots: the nobles, the priests, and the commoners, who all have their duties and everything prescribed by the gods. And the lot of the commoners is to work and suffer. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble, our strength is patience and persistence. So yeah, I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example, Brante. Your father's a nobleman, even if that didn't make you one. Just look at your hands. We never had to work as hard as me, but we had the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Look at your father. He's a judge, he toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen an Archnean work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Archneans are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They're never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the Empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Arachnians are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue, if the books are to be believed, of course. You've never seen one yourself. Ah, racial class systems. Don't we love them? Brackets, we do not love them. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones, and see flags bearing a coat of arms, a sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It's the Archduke's coat of arms, the Milanidas dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders, suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress. I have questions about that description given this picture. Those shoulders are most definitely revealed. Her black hair cascading over them, her stately slim silhouette, her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes dark like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully. And most incredible of all, her skin glows an azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Arachnian. You know how it is. Go your whole childhood without seeing an Arachnian, and then as soon as you mention that, one immediately comes along. That's how you know that you're the protagonist. Clear the way for me. The Milanidas guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Arachnian lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Reveals a handkerchief, makes her sound a little bit like a stage magician. Well, I'll be. That's Octavia Milanidas, our Archduke's own daughter. The Arachnian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. Carriage? Carriage, different word. You see something slip out of her hand and fall onto the cobblestones right next to you. Her handkerchief. It's right there by your feet. Intricate craftsmanship, expensive woven fabric, delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arachnian's attention in order to return her lost possession? Or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? Okay, so this is unlocked, so we have to have willpower in order to do it. It will cost us some. It will get us our Destiny Matters of the Heart, which is fall in love. So, do we fall in love with the alien noble? I feel like that's fairly doomed. Do we stash it? We get willpower, and Thomas appreciates that. Oh, so let's stash it to sell it later, or keep it to remember her by, and just get a bunch of willpower. On the one hand, the willpower's good, on the other hand, Blue Lady. No, I feel like we need the willpower for more important things than meeting a girl who is a terrible idea. You carefully observe Lady Octavia as she leaves. Her delicate figure moves through the square like a waking dream, her elegant hands gliding through the air, her hair flowing in the light breeze. Your eyes watch all of her. This is very creepy. She returns to the carriage. Why can I not work out that word? It's just, we go either into courage or garage. Completely different nouns. She returns to the carriage, leaning on a guardsman's shoulder as she gracefully climbs back inside. The soft handkerchief feels warm in your hand. You fold it carefully and hide it in your pocket. The carriage drives away, marked by the thudding rhythm of hooves. Till that day, you associated the Milanidas dynasty with nothing but indifferent cruelty. But now your breast pocket holds the proof of yet another quality they possess. Beauty. Emilio, don't get seduced by the bourgeoisie. It's not going to end well. Just because things are beautiful doesn't mean they won't also just casually kill you. But anyway, we're full of power. Yeah. This handkerchief gives us so much power! And hey, now we're 12. What would a 12-year-old boy do with a handkerchief? Don't answer that. 11:30, spring, the Quorum Decree. Filled with determination. Yeah, exactly. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It's a spring night and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather's yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting with 17 Gs, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. Why would they?
That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum. How dare he?
Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful. Should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum?
I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them.
Remind me who else was lowborn? Oh, everyone in this family, because that's how nobles of the mantle work. It's just the thing of... I mean, it's the classic thing of people ennobled by social mobility hate the concept of social mobility.
I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree. That accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed. And now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert.
Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax. Nothing more.
That's only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah, am I telling this too? It's already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are an harbinger of its destruction.
God, this man sucks so much. Also, just very, what's next? Are they going to marry their dogs? Rhetoric. Father, I'm begging you, I do not wish to marry a third time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to...
I will allow them nothing. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlifes share the same rights.
Wow. Like, sucks so much, but also beginning to slightly cross the line into just strawman bourgeoisie. Strawjoisie? No, that's really hard to say.
My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book. But that dream will never come true. They'll never call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours.
Now, the first trick, if you want to be called Venerable El Brante, is to just become a luchador, and then you can call yourself what you like. And that would be a hell of a luchador name.
My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante.
You have 2 more grandsons.
Those spineless milksops from the common lot. They're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle, although I have grave doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever.
You hear grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane, and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. What does the power scale mean? It's the sway between nobility and commoners in power. School! Started studying at the school of Sir Tibor and began to master the sciences. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study.
You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tibor's School for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles, so you'll study there during the day and come home in the evening.
You share the news with your best friend Thomas.
Sir Tibor's School, eh? Yeah, I got to ask my parents to send me there too, as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education.
The school is based in an ancient state of Archnean design. The classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hands slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire, and how the Nobles' Court of Honour is different from the Commoners' Civil Court in the City Prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. When it's time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behaviour of any kind, that you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. Yes, remember that time when we had a vision and we just shouted heresy in an adult man's voice? Remember that? You have only one more day until the exam. That went quickly. You've locked yourself away in your room. It's already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. The memories. There's a nagging thought on your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who lived next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books to rescue a friend in need? But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. The door's locked. You okay, Emilio? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other. But Thomas and your fort are about to be stormed. Why today, of all days? You grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan's by the door, trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. What, that's vague. Will you accept his help? What do you mean, the only way he can? I feel like we're being expected to have knowledge we don't. So we can focus on law and history. Gets us nobility and relations with our father. Rephrase that, makes our relationship with our father better. We can go help Thomas, gets us ingenuity and a better relationship with Thomas. Theology gets us spirituality and a better relationship with Lydia. Or spending a moment with Nathan just gives us tons more willpower. We don't need tons more willpower right now. I mean, we were looking at focusing on nobility. There sounded like an interesting achievement done to do with that. Theology is also, the theology of this whole society is very interesting. This choice is rough, yeah, you're not wrong. I think we should. We said we were gonna go for nobility. Let's study. Let's be good for once. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Wow. Soon your eyes start to hurt from all the legal terms and chronologies and titles of imperial edicts. You repeat everything, every single line of it, until your head hurts and your vision begins to blur. This is not healthy studying. When Father walks in, he chuckles in approval. You are not helping. You fall asleep right there amidst the books. The morning comes. You barely have time to wake up before you walk into the menacing edifice of the school. Time for law. That's a very ominous three-word sentence. All the students sit still, glued to their benches in terror. The teacher's voice singles you out. If a commoner insults a nobleman's honour, how ought he to be dealt with according to imperial law? Bring the commoner to the prefecture, where the judge will sentence him to corporal punishment. And what if a noble takes a commoner's life by negligence or whim? The noble is fined by the provincial authorities. Because, you know, just in case this system wasn't obvious enough. Surprising even yourself, you give the correct answers to these questions and the many more that follow. The next subject is the history of the Blessed Archnean Empire. You masterfully recount the history of every province as they merged with the Empire, from Monia to Magra. Then you recite the names of every Tempest who has ruled the Empire. You conquer every question the teacher asks you without confusing a single date. Couldn't be me. You get the highest grade in law and history, and an average grade in theology. You relay the teacher's praise to Father over dinner. He smiles, pleased with you.
Well done, my son. I can see how hard you've been working. Keep at it and you will be among the Empire's greatest servants. I'm proud of you.
I feel like we might be playing into the system too much. Well, it's fine. We can tear it down from inside. That always works, right? $11:30. Fall. Noble titles. Your education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to realise that there's a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. God, what a concept. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Archnean gentry. People, like, raised up by the hierarchy, still impose firmer hierarchies on each other. That's never happened. You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner, as he always does.
And what's the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Emilio?
You already have an answer ready. The latter's status is hereditary, meaning that it's passed down from father to son. After the Archneans, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the Empire. They own land and estates, they fill offices of the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. So it doesn't work just because we grabbed that sword when we were 8? Damn. The system's broken.
And how are such eminent people addressed?
With the honorific L before their last name, you respond. Sir Augustine L. Bourne, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased.
And what about the Archneans and their status? What have you learned about them?
The Archneans stand above all human gentry. They're born to rule over humans, regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly.
Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Archnean tells you and never defy them. Ever. What about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles?
That's easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. This title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the Empire in the Legion or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks you in the eye intently.
Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son. All in due time.
Sons of the nobility. Sir Tibor's school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons here. And every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Again, the concept. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diedrich, the son of the secretary for the Imperial Chancellery and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father's been ennobled by the mantle. However, Diedrich and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favourite victim. Time and time again, you ask your friend not to pay them any mind. But again and again, Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It's early morning. The students are busy flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it's the work of Diedrich and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare you sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fists.
You're dead, Diedrich.
He throws himself at Diedrich's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they're free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Diedrich sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Diedrich readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners? He asks. Your father is a noble of the mantle. You want to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diedrich haughtily extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? So we can fight, get some more nobility and better relationship with Thomas. Turn him over to the teachers for ingenuity and a better relationship with Thomas. Admonish the nobleman's sons for spirituality and a better relationship with Thomas. Or shake Diedrich's hand. We'll improve our relationship with our father, decrease it with Thomas, and improve the reputation of our family. No. I'm... Like, you could give all the mechanical benefits in the world to that. I am never shaking this. Just... yeah. This boy is a turd. I am not shaking his hand. Challenge to single combat. Etc. You do not shake his hand. Instead, you challenge Diedrich to display at least some dignity by fighting you one-on-one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Diedrich's face grows serious. There's no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Diedrich makes a sign and Thomas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back on his feet, cursing and itching to rush at them again, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time. Everybody immediately returns to their seats. A day full of lessons begins. You keep daydreaming of Diedrich's face and how you're going to put an end to that nasty smile of his.
Let's catch that bastard together and clean his clock. Yeah, me, not you.
The deal's been made, you tell your friend. This is a matter of your honour now. Thomas huffs angrily, but agrees. Diedrich is already waiting for you in a narrow back street by the school, his retinue by his side. Really? We're getting CPU chug already on this game? This is not graphically intensive, come on. Luckily, you can't really tell, because this isn't super animated. You walk forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way. If you win this battle, Diedrich and the other children of nobles will never pick on the commoner's sons again. Huge if true. If he wins, you'll never stand in their way and protect other students. You will fight him, one-on-one. Diedrich walks forward, uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fists in a fighting stance. Diedrich tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Diedrich does manage to land several glancing blows, but he's fighting a losing battle. He's never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. You've learned a lot from him. Yes, thank you, Sensei. It does not take long for Diedrich to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. You've won. You turn to the other nobleman's sons with a victorious look on your face. No more teasing. And if anyone else says so much as one bad word about Thomas, they'll pay. Diedrich's former retinue disperses silently. Yeah, you're welcome, friend. And we are honourable because we beat up a child. Again, much more acceptable when you are also a child. But enough of that, now it's the year 1131, which means we're what? 13. The Silver Tree. Your theology teachers tell you more about Anizot. It's more than just the provincial capital, it's also a sacred place, blessed by the gods. It's where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you've never approached the trunk of the tree yourself. This is Elden Ring. This is just Elden Ring. Today you will be taking your first trip to the Silver Tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everybody's excited. Soon, you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anizot. The roots are pulsating under your feet. I'm not sure roots are meant to do that. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They're home to paupers, day labourers, and preachers. Interesting to have preachers in that bracket, whereas priests are a separate bracket. It very much raises kind of salesmen versus manufacturers. The preachers are the lumpen proletariat of the church. That's an interesting thing to think about. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live, or maybe it's just because you literally just met these people. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace, your teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it, and not because of economic conditions at all. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. Seriously, roots shouldn't do that. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the Temple of the Twin Gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There is a crowd there. Pilgrims dressed in travelling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and the calm emanating from it. You're filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver-white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. Okay, this tree can get out of my brain immediately. You're distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path that should take you right next to the trunk. A tall, red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She's wearing a worn, white robe. She's no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she's recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Mathilde, a preacher from Astinia. What she says next shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teachings of the twins, she says, yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will only find only the lies about the lots, the erring words of Prophet Isaiah, sanctified by the passing of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows that they never so much as mentioned the lots. The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you've heard from Mother, everything you've been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Mathilde or ask her for more information? Or should you treat her as a madwoman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She's just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief with only a single golden lock showing. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. There's just a bit of colour on her cheeks too. Then she starts speaking to you quickly. Cool. Brain fart, all of the voices I've ever heard in my life disappear. Don't listen to her. She's dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. You stand there, surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sounds of shuffling feet, torn between two people you've never seen before. And each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispering of the wind in the tree's branches. The branches reach out for you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice? Okay, we can't hear its voice, because we never had that insight about the ants as a child. You know how it is when you don't look closely enough at ants as a kid, and then you get older and realise that your chance to become a mad prophet has disappeared. Leave them and approach the tree, just gives us a bunch of willpower. Stay with Mathilde. Decreases our relationship with Jan, who we just met. Gets us some spirituality. Following her costs some willpower, but we meet a girl. This game is doing all it can to make sure we meet a girl. And, like, on the one hand, I want to get involved in these characters and all. But on the other hand, this game wants me to meet a girl so much that I think it's quite funny to not. Yeah, I want to hear more of this heresy. You shrug, smile sheepishly at the girl, and walk towards the red-haired preacher. This Mathilde of Astinia, she speaks too strangely to be ignored. You feel she'll be leaving soon anyway. And the temple, surely the temple's not going anywhere. Wow, way to tempt fate. The lady preacher hands her book to you. There are words on the cover, the lives of the twins. The book's so heavy you almost drop it. The crowd around you barely allows for a proper reading. The best you can do is flip through the pages and hope to glimpse a message or two from it. Mathilde's hushed voice comments on each new page. This book was written by the disciples of the twins. When the twin gods descended and brought faith into the world, they walked the lands with them. It's filled with many stories of wonders and battles, as well as records of the twins' own sermons and dialogues. Why can I not remember what the word for a book of Haditha is? I know there's a word for it, and I can't remember it. They discuss many things that now guide the living, the fate that awaits us on the Shining Pillar, the eternal life after true death, the profane evil of magic. Yet Mathilde points out something that you cannot help but notice yourself. There's not one mention of the lots in this book. How can this be, you ask her. It is what it is, she responds. The twins never spoke of them. They never left any teaching behind, nothing but their deeds and their own lives in this world. You frown, then how come we know about the lots now? They exist thanks to Isatius, she says. Isatius, favoured by the gods, the elder's favourite disciple, walked the lands by his side, and through all his hardships until his fatal end in Eterna. They came to be, she explains, when people came to Isatius and asked him how they should live. Yet Isatius was but a man, and his teachings of the lots were not a divine revelation, but a speculation of his own devising. Wow, she sounds more like Poirot the longer she talks. This feels much tougher than learning prayers. Weirdly, not following rote thought is harder. Maybe that's how the system works. So if the teachings of the lots come not from the gods, but rather from their student, what does that mean for you? What does it mean for the people? Stretch and hydrate, good point. I have been concentrating on this heterodox theology for too long. A new faith, the red-haired preacher says with a smile. You think about her words for a long time as the silver tree whispers above your head, and the very tree grown from the blood of the people who walked the land with the younger and the elder. You keep on thinking about it even as you make your way home and into bed. Your conclusions bring you no comfort. If that strange lady preacher was right, then you're supposed to be free to interpret the twins' words yourself, which means that you and only you should be responsible for your life and fate in the hereafter. But who can tell for sure? I mean, literally we denied the existence of destiny as our first choice in this game, my dude. Catch up. You cannot fall asleep that night, so they were lying to you all this time? In the morning, you still mutter off a prayer in the words of your lot, to work, endure, and suffer. But is it all worth it if the lots don't really exist? Or is it the will of the twins, after all? Did they actually speak their will through Azatius, and those who defy that will are defying the true order of the world? These questions will remain in your mind for a long time. Brief tech problem, apologies. Now that's not working at all. Raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Elgato. Wait. Is this even the right plug? I think I may have not fixed the Stream Deck on account of I was looking at the cable for the mouse. Come on, Stream Deck, work with me. Let's try an improviser. Software save, come on. Hey, that worked. Cool. Sorry about the audio interruption as well. Anyway, we're now still mundane, but slightly less mundane, I guess. The shadow of the past. Another school day has ended. You're making your way home, still mulling over the things you learned from your teachers. The founding of the Empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty. The 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has. And yet, so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teachers talk about it. Teachers like to mystify things. It's how they have a job. Mother's waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her, just as she's taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you, like a shadow leading towards the sun. No. You can take the girl out of the 90s. Emilio, my son, you're 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me, about our marriage.
You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes.
I'm sure you wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, Emilio, your father, when his first wife, Amalia Alborn, died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me, may his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honoured him as his lot to rule, but he took me by force.
Okay, cool. We are apparently just swerving straight into the rape chapter. I can only apologise. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Tread carefully, game.
Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street with that little baby girl in my arms.
Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly.
I had no home, no honour, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believe that at that very moment, the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me. But he would never abandon me and baby Gloria. And if I agreed, he would take me into his own home.
This seems ethically dubious. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks.
I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honour and reputation would suffer. But caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others. But his decision to marry me, he's still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumours we heard about the Brantes all over Anizot. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation. Now the noble families have all forgotten about that scandal, thanks to twins.
Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she's telling you? Probably not. Remember that bit where we didn't get any perceptiveness as a child?
My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth and occasional slurs. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. And if that were to happen, Emilio, they would see even your birth as illegitimate.
Mother sighs heavily.
What I told you just now is something you have to know, my son. You're about to enter adult life. By my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family. But may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister?
Well, we can't say no, because we would have to not have such a good relationship with Gloria. But that would give us that point of nobility. We accept her, and Gloria and Mum both like it. Or we evade the question, gain some willpower, and our Mum doesn't like it. Well, we don't need more willpower right now, I don't think. Yes, of course we accept Gloria. She's pretty cool. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and will always be your sister. You want Gloria to be a Brante too. You want her to be a part of your family.
Who cares what the nobles of Anazot say? Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Emilio, if only you knew how happy that would make me, to have our family united at last. However, the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, a home and education, his care and advice. The Brante bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Emilio, I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family they've given her. You hope they can hear her. I mean, we're not convinced that they exist, even though they empirically do. Also, can we now have a chapter with less of Lydia, because, Anyway, our sister loves us. As does our mother. Hooray. Everything is good, right? "11:31, fall. The flash and the flame." You're 13 now. Oh god, the teenage years begin. Another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priests, and why the clergy is the only one of the three estates with the right to interpret the lots and guide the other two estates accordingly. Thomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing, as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. But you've heard all this from Mother many times before, so you take this moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete. But the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice at one of your classmates. A boy by the name of Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he had just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone's about to get punished. Children. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. You all watch the teacher's iron-bound book as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. A sudden flash. The teacher screams and buries his face in his arms. His hair is ablaze, and his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic. Real magic, just like in the books about the Magra Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There is a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. We just skip into the revolution now? Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertips. There are screams now. Students run for the door. Their teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his fingers and the books of Isaiah on the desk turn into pillars of flame. He laughs and raises his arms and the curtains catch fire. The screams grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames and his whole body is shaking with laughter. He steps towards the door. You and Thomas glance at each other.
He's gonna burn the old school down.
Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor. Why are we fighting this kid? Even through his clothes, his body sears your flesh. Brian screams, convulses, and grabs Thomas by the shoulders with his burning hands. Thomas howls but stays put, then knocks Brian senseless with several fierce blows to the head. There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Thomas remain next to Brian, who's lying on the floor, silent. Soon, 3 men in black cloaks enter the doors of the school, each bearing an edict sealed with silver. The Inquisition. You and Thomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains. The ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us all from its evil grasp. The next day, you are forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He's no more. Gotta love a good damnatio memoriae. Hey, we fought a flaming child together, and that builds a bond if like nothing else. Okay, that seems like, on that dramatic note, an excellent time for our first break, also because it's the time when our first break would happen. So I need to go and, stand up and move around and have some water, all those good self-care things, and you should do those too. So, stand up, move around, have a drink, have a snack, give someone a hug if they're cool with it. I will be running some ads because capitalism, if you could let those run. And I will be back in about 3 minutes, when we will continue to be a teenager. Alright. Love you all. See you in a few. And we're back. Hello everyone. If you came in during the break, you just missed us body checking a flaming witch child, so that happened. Anyway, about the nobleman's lot. A great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest, good name, was anointed to rule over the empire. Blessed by the twins themselves, the emperor's reign continues into its 2nd century. Celebrations in honour of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. Jesus, I thought people were overdoing it with the coronation here. We didn't get a fortnight off. On one of these evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather's going to bring Stefan back home for the holiday. They say families should celebrate the day of anointment together. You could benefit from your older brother's company. With his noble education, Stefan might be able to teach you how noblemen are supposed to act. Soon Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Gloria, he's still Grandfather's double. But he's more grown up now and far less haughty to you. It's a dark winter evening. Damp, cold wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands of Magra. You and Stefan are sitting in the library. He's telling you all about Eterna, at the capital of the Empire. It's full of so many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twins, the Military Academy, the Imperial College. You've read so much about these places, yet he's seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I looked everywhere. She's not in the attic, not in the sitting room, not in the kitchen. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Charmelandas's palace. She could be lost in there. You and Stefan exchange looks. Charmelandas, the rebellious duke. The ruins of his palace are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means you absolutely have to make your way there and back again to prove you're not afraid of the long-dead witch. Your brother tells you to wait. He leaves and soon returns with his sword in its sheath. Get ready, Emilio. We're going to rescue Gloria. She must have gone to the ruins in search of inspiration for another one of her little rhymes. The two of you instruct Nathan to tell your parents you've gone for a walk in the square. You and your elder brother head outside. You're confused by Stefan's actions. He refuses to treat Gloria like a human being, so why is he still so determined to rescue her? Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honor compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brante, but Father still took her into our house. I must respect his seniority and defend Gloria like she's one of our own. You're a Brante too, noble or not, which means it's your duty to aid me. The ruins of Charmelandas's palace span an entire district. The palace was abandoned centuries ago, and its remnants are overgrown with thick underbrush. The ruined palace is empty, nothing but cold wind blowing over crumbling brickwork. Even the worst scum of the land stay clear of this place, which is a shame because the soundtrack is banging. You make your way through the ruins until you spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing. Your sister's writing. You hear loud laughter coming from behind a dilapidated stone wall nearby. You pull yourself up to peer over it. Gloria is lying on the ground, face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunk young thugs surround her. Young thugs there, cackling and swinging their arms about. You hear their shouts.
Look at the lass sitting here rhyming words together. She thinks she's all noble. Don't you worry, you low-born tart. We're gonna teach you your place.
One of the louts spits at Gloria as she lies there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but they soon notice that he's only one armed man against many. They start reaching out for sticks and stones, which I hear can break your bones. Stay by my side, don't let them flank me. Stefan's hand shakes, but he looks ready for battle. He's outnumbered. For a moment you hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run for the nearby district and call for guards? Yeah, just make the numbers game even worse. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching you and Stefan cautiously. So we can charge, which will give us a much better relationship with our brother who's kind of a dick. We follow his lead, which also gives us a better thing, costs some willpower, gives us that nobility, or we run away and call the guards, which will give us ingenuity, but is a very bad idea. No, let's actually do some tactics with this kid who has learnt to fence. Because, I mean, so have we, but we don't have a sword. Give us a sword, is what I'm saying. It's like Carly Rae Jepsen, us, on the list. Stefan's firm voice fills you with confidence. You follow your noble brother's orders. It takes a moment to grab a stick, and then you're at Stefan's back, angrily swinging at the louts as they try to bring him down. One of the louts lunges at your brother with a stone, but you hit him with the stick, and he falls down right at Stefan's feet. His sword flashes. The blade sinks deep into the young man's stomach. He wheezes. Blood starts pouring onto the ground. The thugs freeze. Stefan pulls the sword out, his face an inscrutable mask, and returns to his fighting stance. You're stunned to see Stefan take another man's life so easily and effortlessly, like picking his own teeth. It's just in. The ruling classes don't see you as human. The thugs look like they're about to flee. There's rage and confusion on their faces. They never expected the young nobleman to use that sword. Stefan just scoffs at them. Low-born scum, that's all you are. This is the only language you understand. Good job, brother. Gloria, get up, we're going home. Your approval fills me with shame. He turns to glance at your sister, giving the enraged thugs just enough time to rush you. You get separated from Stefan, your back's against the wall now. They hit you hard, in the stomach, then the face, then the side of the head. Then your mind slips away. When the darkness disperses, you find yourself lying in your bed. Stefan is in the armchair next to you reading a book. He's alive, with the left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. Well, I mean, even if it died there, it wouldn't take, you know how this world works. Your head is spinning and you feel nauseous. You try your best to sit up. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up, you lost a lot of blood. Suppose that was a few thugs too many for a single warrior, even with good backup. I'm impressed. We fought like an army. The noble orders, the commoner obeys, all according to our lots. We defended the family's honour together. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage, not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes a part of his family's legacy, flowing in the blood tide forever. That's very metal. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak. A noble mustn't suffer like people of the lowborn lot. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot you have to look after. You have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lot as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honour, dignity, tradition. It's tough, but it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Oh no, it's so hard to be a landlord. Why is everyone mean to me just because I'm rich and powerful? There's approval in your brother's eyes for the first time in a long while. I hate it. It always a pleasure to fight side by side, brother. Stefan treats you as usual. Helpful tooltip game, thanks. But hey, now we have a better relationship with him. And we are noble and still full of power. Forbidden love. Ooh. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. I mean, forbidden love usually is. Also, you could put everything, this event is a consequence of your previous actions, because that's how time works. Another day of school is behind you. You're now wandering your district, taking your time before going home. It's getting dark. Soon you're walking past the splendid mansion of Count El Velasco, one of Magra's richest landlords. You hear a familiar voice from the other side of the iron fence. It's Stefan's voice. It's followed by the sound of a young lady laughing. You peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden, and indeed, there you see your elder brother, dressed like he's going to meet the Emperor himself. He's currently busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. She locks him in an emotional embrace. You recognize her, Maria El Velasco, Count El Velasco's daughter. And as the whole city knows, she's already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family. A co-worker is up. Okay, two things. A, those of you in chat before who were saying that his forbidden love would be like Gloria or someone. No, clearly we're going with forbidden love is because it's above his station. Also, a co-worker asking for recommendations for places to visit in the UK. I have to wonder what are my favourite campy ghost tours. I mean, I think I've only been on, like, one. Ever. And that was in... that was in Swanage and Dorset. And it was alright. That is not really a thing I would have a lot of knowledge on. Apologies. People always ask me for what to do in the UK, and I'm just like, I do not get out much. Oh, Maria, I thought I would help you come down to earth from your heavenly abode, but your very touch brings me to the heavens. Yes, I have heard good things about ghost tours in York. I have heard this. I have been to York, like, once, ever. He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs almost imperceptibly and kisses him on the cheek. But then Stefan takes her by the chin and turns her to face him. Their lips join in a kiss. A flurry of emotion washes over you as you watch it happen. This is the plot of Atonement. Stefan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk. Acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brantes. And yet Stefan always speaks so highly of noble bearing and composure and family honour. Sorry, are you suggesting that the bourgeoisie might talk a bigger game than they actually play? The concept. Stefan's face is glowing with joy. Your older brother, he's happy. Truly happy. I've never seen Stefan like this, as his arms hold the Count's daughter in a tender embrace, so gently as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings. Does she really rob them of their secret joy? If you ever speak to him about this, no one else must hear it. You wait by the gate patiently until Stefan decides to return from his escapades. He's startled when he finally notices you standing by the gate. So we can remind him what honour means. And Stefan will be disgraced. Oh, Stefan is going to be disgraced either way. But if we go this way, we get nobility and a better relationship with him. Weirdly, we get a better relationship if we tell him to stop than if we help him do it. But we get spirituality and ingenuity that well. Now, do we want to kind of be well-rounded? Or do we want to just go hard on nobility? Well-rounded seems like a planning for the future idea. Exactly, that's why I should not do it. Have you not watched this stream? You say something is planning for the future and you know I will swerve away at the speed of sound. Always forward, never plan. That's exactly why you said it. Okay, good. We understand each other. Also, I'm one of those people who will play RPGs and just get really anxious about stat balance and make everything equal all the time, and that is an impulse I try and fight against. You fold your arms as you face your older brother. He's confused to see you here. You speak to him openly. You know of his affair with Maria Velasco, and Stefan should forget that young lady as soon as humanly possible. He freezes at these words. You keep talking. A noble cannot behave like this. Stefan is risking bringing shame on all the Brantes. And worse yet, he's defying his own lot and his own words. His honour, Maria's honour, the family's honour, it will all be harmed by his recklessness. How could Stefan have forgotten about this? How could he have let his emotions rule him? Why should you have to be there to remind a born noble about this? You who were born a commoner. Stefan frowns, but lets you keep talking. You wait for his anger, but there is none. When you're finally done speaking, your brother stays quiet for a long moment, and then sighs heavily. Yes, indeed. You're right, I lost control of myself. Maria, I'm a madman in her presence. I forget the world when I'm with her, and I forgot my duty to my lot and my family. I will part ways with Lady Velasco and offer my apologies to her father. My brother, thank you. You've reminded me of who I am. Again, your approval fills me with shame. From that day on, Stefan stops going out at night. His attitude towards you has changed too. He now looks at you with respect, as if he's finally come to see you as an equal. Even in his anger, he's now quick to recall your brave decision and stop himself. Yeah, we so noble. Stefan's disgrace. Event has happened. Don't you just, TFW, event has happened. And I know what this is saying, it's just saying that we've got that, but I just needed to click it so that we could stop it flashing at us. The trial of the assailants. Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of lowborn thugs assaulted Stefan Brante. Grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as lesser death releases them. Wow, so we just kill... To be fair, in a kind of fascist way, you can see the practicality of it. It's a lot easier to arrest people if you just kill them and then you know where they'll respawn. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favourite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of your family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and Grandfather decide to stay in Anizot until the trial ends. Grandfather demands true death for every single assailant. You ask Father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? This is the plot of Dogma.
Your words are true, my son. Their law is second to none. Yet the twin gods also made the Empire in all its ways. The court of law exists to execute the laws of heaven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death.
Yeah? Whatever you hold true on earth, etc.
The commoners was... Forgive me, son, I've been drinking. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born nobleman, have committed a grave offence, there's no doubt about that. And yet, according to the Emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they're about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court.
Evening comes. Gloria visits your room. She looks crestfallen and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. You put away your school books and ask what's bothering her. Also, I've just been reminded of the fact that we are still 13 at this point. Stretch and hydrate. Good point, thank you. 13 and off to the trial for the death penalty of the kids who assaulted my sister, and then my brother murdered one of them.
The trial is tomorrow. I thought I was going to appear there too as an eyewitness. After all, this whole mess started because of me. But Sir Robert isn't even going to mention that I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me. Nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist. And I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I'll become part of the family. But no, everything is back to usual now.
Gloria tries her best to hold back the tears. You do your best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble.
If Sir Robert believes that I only bring trouble, why did he take me into the house at all?
Gloria runs away. You return to your books, but you can't help but get lost in thought. If they told the court that you weren't there either, how would you feel then? There's a knock at the door. It's Father. He closes the door behind him and sits next to you. There's an exhausted look about him.
Son, you'll be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I'm about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. You went there with your brother to inspect this historic site. The Lowborn men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailants on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If we mention her very existence to the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. Your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We're all counting on you.
Why would you pressure? You recall the night of the fight like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those cackling thugs. Her poetry, her greatest treasure, scattered on the ground. She thinks she's all noble. Those were the words they spat down at her. But doesn't grandfather mean the same thing when he denies that she's part of the family? But if you do what father tells you, the trial will end quickly. Those commoners will face true death, resulting in a noble. If you mention Gloria, things will get complicated, and you cannot predict how the trial will end. Which is more important to you? What is right or what is just? That's a hell of a dichotomy to introduce, given that in many senses I would say those are the same thing. So if we support father and lie through our teeth, he likes it, Gloria doesn't. We lose family unity but gain family reputation. If we lie to father, we get ingenuity. Father and grandfather dislike it, Gloria likes me even more. Or we convince father to change his mind, which costs us some willpower. Will make our reputation even worse, but make us very united in our low reputation, and will give me nobility and spirituality. Only cost me 5 willpower, and damage our relationship with our grandfather who we hate. Talk the monster to death. You look father straight in the eye and tell him what you think. You're not going to bear false witness in court. He's a judge himself. How can he make you lie to Sir Elborn? And what of Gloria, too? Is she not a Brante, too? Does she not deserve justice? Or maybe grandfather's right and she's just a freeloader who deserves nothing but shame. If so, then how come father agreed to take her into his home and under his protection? Saying this to father is tough. Deep inside you pray he hears no weakness in your voice and sees no blood rush into your cheeks. But it seems he is listening to you intently. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper as his fingers stammer out a staccato against the armrest.
This is gonna be tough, son. But you're right. You are right. I took Gloria into my home, and so I must protect her like my own daughter. This was my decision, and I must stand by it. I'll speak with Stefan in the morning. Now I pray your grandfather never hears of my change of heart.
I mean, he's probably going to be at the trial, so odds are he will. After meeting, well, have good meeting. Hope nobody gets sentenced to death there. The day comes. The trial takes place in the lesser hall of the city prefecture. Sir Elborn himself presides as the judge. You were the first to testify to the court. You tell the court the truth about that night, how the thugs humiliated Gloria, how Stefan and you came to help her, and how Stefan defended his half-sister. Out of the corner of your eye, you watch Grandfather's face grow red, yet he remains silent. There are confused whispers in the hall. The commoners on trial cry out, "It's the truth! Gloria was reciting poetry, and they simply told her she was defying her lot." The situation has changed. By this account, Stefan was not acting in defense of himself or another. He merely assaulted them first in order to retaliate against those who had insulted his half-sister. You spread your feet to stand firm and inhale before you speak next, which is good because you need to breathe to speak. You ask the hall, "Is it not a nobleman's duty to honour his family name? Gloria does not have the Brante name, but your father took her into his home. Therefore it was Stefan's duty to protect her, as he would have protected any of you." Contemptuous chuckles rush through the courtroom. You've just reminded the city of father's shameful second marriage. Stefan is to testify next. He reluctantly confirms your testimony, glancing at father and grandfather all the while. His arm in the sling is his main argument. Stefan wanted the commoners to stop insulting Gloria, yet in the end the commoners were the first to assault him. Our legal defences, Greedo shot first. After a short recess, Sir Elborn returns and rises to deliver his sentence. "The court of Anisot finds you guilty of assaulting Stefan L. Brante, a nobleman who stood in defence of the honour of Gloria, a member of his household. All 4 defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging." There is no wind, but you feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale, their mothers are bawling and crying. Everybody in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it is stern and just. That very power has been invoked by this sentence, and by that very sentence the lives of the 4 young men are literally forfeit for all eternity. This is another piece of kind of symbolism and imagery that not a lot of things touch on that I really like. The concept of law as a numinous force. Which, I mean, functionally in society it is. I mean, what is law except changing the world by saying the right words in the right order? And what is that but magic? The gallows await. Yeah. Stefan stands in the front row. Father stands next to him. The wood creaks. Trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and reaching out for support with their feet in their final moments. Ugh. Grandfather's silence ends at home. He screams at you and father, at Stefan and Gloria. This trial is a disgrace. His screams are punctuated by the thudding of his walking stick against the floor. Father says they had to defend their family. It would truly have been a disgrace if they'd shirked their responsibilities. Stefan excuses himself to bandage his arm in order to stay out of the argument. Fair. Gloria is quiet, glowing. You stay quiet too. It's all over now. It is all over now. Nobody bullies Gloria on the streets anymore. Those 4 commoners are dead forever. Their families were taught a cruel lesson, so it will be with anyone who dares to raise his hand against a nobleman. Our grandfather still has distaste for us. Our honour is tarnished. Not quite disgraced just yet, but we are at peace. And I am more noble, and I am a searcher for spirituality. And still ready for action, if no longer full of power. So I'll take it. Hey, now we're 14. Agony! Stefan leaves soon after the trial, alone. Grandfather does not go with him. For the first time in a long while, he lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Also, the word linger, I have, like, my brain will only pronounce it in 2 ways, and they're Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries singing Linger, and the Ghost of Christmas Present in the 1994 Patrick Stewart edition of A Christmas Carol. No, not Christmas Present. That makes no sense. It's Jacob Marley. That is who that speech is. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. You know how it is that some lines just get burnt into your mind? Well, that's that. Maybe that's just me. I communicate mostly in references. Several months go by, and it becomes clear that Grandfather will not recover. The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now. On some days he has trouble recognizing people. When he means to address you or Nathan, he calls you Robert, your father's name. But when he does get out of bed, the house grows empty. The servants hide, Mother locks herself in her chambers. You and Nathan run outside or hide quietly in your rooms. If Grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins lamenting. Oh, nobody heeds the lots any longer. Any harlot with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him and let him down. I hate this man. And oh, how the Brante family has lost its honour. Again and again you hear Grandfather knocking at Mother's door, screaming that it's all her fault. He blames her for ruining his chances to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for dooming him to suffer at the foot of the pillar. You overhear your parents talking one night. Mother begs Father to move Sir Gregor to his old home and spare the children his decline. Father refuses her outright. It's late at night. The hot, dry winds are coming. The house is empty, save for you, Nathan, Gloria, Mother, and Grandfather in his bed. Father's left for the capital on business. You're engrossed in the history of the Empire, snapping out of your reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. You blow out the candle and get ready for bed. You hear the shuffling of heavy feet outside your door. You see light in the hallway. Grandfather. What could he want in the middle of the night? You peek into the hallway once he's passed. Grandfather's figure sways as he heads for the door to Mother's chambers. Don't like this! Putting it on the record now, do not like this. He opens the door and walks in. You hear him saying something quietly. Your unease is stronger than your fear now. You sneak closer to hear his words.
You foul commoner! I have to cleanse my sins. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin. You and what you've done to Robert and this family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh, why didn't I do it?
Please, Sir Brante, I beg of you.
Silence. You will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all low-born filth from this place. Fire and flame will free Robert from this disgrace. This is for my son's sake. For my son's sake. For my sake. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they're calling for me now. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I beg of you, please have mercy.
Mother begins to cry. You run into the room, unable to stay out of this any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his hand. Mother is sprawled out on the bed, crying.
Please, just let me warn the children. I beg of you, Sir Brante.
Your steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns to look at you.
Stay out of this, Emilio. Be useful for once. Worldly matters concern me no longer. I see only my sins now, and a sinner I am. A sinner. The twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I don't want to suffer for all eternity. Go away.
Mother is crying. Grandfather is still looming over the bed, driven to madness. His hand shakes as it clutches the oil lamp. His eyes shine in the dark. He truly believes this has to be done. You're suddenly torn. What if he is right? What if that is the only way for his soul to find salvation? Tough. There's no going back now. You have but a moment to act. If the only way your soul can find salvation is through murdering a bunch of people, your soul doesn't deserve salvation. Just saying, that system is flawed. So we can run away to rescue Nathan and Gloria. We will lose wealth, gain ingenuity and spirituality, and Gregor Brante will die the true death. Hooray! We can stop him. It will cost us some willpower. We have to have a bad relationship with him, but it will get us nobility and ingenuity, and make our relationship even worse with him, but he will die the true death. Hey! Or we can just stand back and let it happen. He has the right to purge his sins even if it costs you your lives. No. We lose wealth as our house burns down, gain nobility, ingenuity, and 2 spirituality for just embracing being a spirit. We gain a death, improve our relationship with Gregor Brante, decrease our relationship with our mother, and Gregor Brante dies the true death. Hey! So what you're saying is this is a win-win-win, but we're going to do the one that doesn't involve burning our house down. You look at Grandfather defiantly and step towards him. He stares at He stares you down with rage and throws the oil lamp at the floor. You manage to catch it, but barely. Several drops of hot oil hit the rug, not nearly enough to start a fire. The lamp's glass is blistering hot. It burns your hands, but you still hold on to it safely.
You low-born scum! You ruined everything. You're every bit like your mother, you...
Enraged, he takes a swing and you squeeze your eyes shut. But he does not hit you. Instead, there is a deep exhalation. You peek at him with one eye just in time to see him collapse. All his strength fading away, his chest is heaving, his face a grimace of contempt. Another heavy exhalation, the contempt is gone. There is only fear now. Grandfather's eyes open wide, almost in surprise. He exhales. His eyes grow dim. Mother is there, whispering a prayer. She's shaking violently. You put the oil lamp gently on the bedside table and call for the servants. They carry the body away. It does not disappear. True death has found him. Way! He will never return. And I say again, way! You spend the rest of the night with Mother in the sitting room. She will not let go of your hand. For many, many nights afterwards, she keeps seeing Grandfather's shadow out of the corner of her eye. True death! Hey! Father returns from return in the morning after. He is unusually composed as he arranges for the funeral. I mean, he also knew that he was a bastard, so... The house becomes quiet. Not the looming, heavy sort of quiet of the past few months. The calm relief you all feel now that the crazed old man is no more. At last, Gregor Brante, the family's patriarch, has departed for the hereafter. Hey! We are dignified and slow, but ready for action. Grandfather's demise. Your grandfather, Sir Gregor Brante, left this world forever to meet the twin gods one last time with me. Hey! What a horrible old man. And now he's dead. Last respects. I mean, also first respect. The night of Grandfather's death shook your family to the core, yet, no matter how it happened, your grandfather Gregor Brante is dead and will never return. I'm not going to do the bit again. He was a fearful shadow looming over the rest of the family, the Brante patriarch exerting his influence on all the lives below him, and all of you will remember him forever. Father is the new patriarch of the family now, yet he still cannot bring himself to sit at the head of the table where Sir Gregor used to preside. Stefan locks himself away in Grandfather's bedroom every day. He will not talk to anyone. Healthy. Gloria and Nathan still jump at every sound that so much as resembles the knocking of his walking stick. Mother spends all day in prayer at the temple. And yet, the house has become calm and quiet with his passing. But there's one more thing that must be done. The final farewell. It weighs heavily upon your soul. Day comes to pay your final respects. Father goes to the tomb alone, save for Stefan, Nathan, and you. Mother and Gloria stay at home. Only nobles or those who may become nobles may join this ritual. Are we going to eat him? I mean, I don't particularly want to eat him, but it'd be funny. There is a solemn silence as you walk to the crypt. Father is the one who breaks the silence when you finally reach the door of the family crypt.
Your grandfather built this crypt, and now he will be the first Brante to remain here in body forever. The first ever noble in our family. It is our duty now to hold to the sacrament of flowing blood for Sir Gregor. We will honour his legacy and join him as the founder of the noble Brante dynasty.
The sacrament of flowing blood? Are we the Sabbat? Stefan perks up at his father's words. His hands still clutch grandfather's sword. Tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks even more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone lead you downwards. Deep in the gloom of the crypt atop a pedestal, you see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects.
Gregor Brante, my father, brought our father into nobility through his unshakable will. He was a judge and a loyal servant to the Empire. He lived his life as if he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path he had chosen. He sought to make the Brante family ennobled by the sword, so that our children's children might be of noble birth. Twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time.
Father lets off a bitter chuckle as he says this. Stefan glares at Father, then turns to glare at Nathan and you. After all, the two of you were born of Father's shameful decision to marry a commoner.
All of you remember his disastrous passing. He did not die the true death he deserved.
I mean, all of us? I was the only one who was there.
Yet we all must know that he fought for the future he believed in, to the very end. And he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with this sacrament of the nobility.
Stefan still glares at Father sullenly. His fingers remain clutched around grandfather's sword. Nathan barely pays any attention to the words. He looks around with unease, his arms folded across his chest. Father reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slender dagger, thin and sharp. He takes off his gloves. Why do you always do it on your hands? Anytime a blood sacrifice is needed in anything, it's always just straight across your palm, which will take forever to heal, and you cut a little bit too deep, and oops, you can't use your fingers.
Watch me carefully, my sons. Make a small cut on the palm of your hand, and let your blood flow into this duct on the wall of the crypt. It will join your grandfather's blood here and flow forever. Then ancestor and progeny will become as one.
Well, this has got metal. All of a sudden.
We shall enter our family's blood tide and receive grandfather's final blessing, for his blood flows first in our blood tide. He will respond to you. You're part of him and he's part of you.
With a quick motion, Father slices his hand and holds the bleeding cut above a small opening in the wall. Then he hands the dagger to Stefan. Stefan cuts his hand without hesitation and does as Father did. You receive the dagger next. The dagger's handle feels warm. You hesitate for a moment as you look at the palm of your hand. If you participate in this ritual, you will enter the Brante blood tide. You, a low-born child, a child who is still a commoner. Are you ready to claim your legacy as a descendant of the nobleman Gregor Brante? The eyes of your father and brothers are upon you. Nathan, the youngest brother, will follow your example. You can be certain of this. So our options are give the dagger back, we get some willpower, Nathan likes us, Father doesn't. Oh wait, are we becoming a noble? No, not at this point. But we are kind of joining the dynasty? Can we just stab Stefan? God, that would be good. We can bleed, because we previously defied the lash and were awesome. Why is stab Stefan ever not an option? Or, because of our great nobility, we can ask Grandfather's spirit for a blessing before we do it. Which, like, is mechanically better because it gives us a point of relationship with Stefan as well. Join my stream for the first time and there's immediately a blood sacrifice. I mean, Bad Lip Twitch, that's honestly pretty par for the course. That's representative. Welcome to the stream, I suppose. Yeah, so I'm not giving the dagger back because much as I might resent the whole ritualized noble structure, if you think that I'm not getting into this blood ritual, then do you even know me? I'm genuinely interested to see what happens if I ask for Grandfather's blessing, given that that man hated me. But we are very noble. We're very good at being noble, and he must respect that. You grasp the dagger firmly, then quickly drag the blade across your palm. Again, stop doing this. The fresh wound burns on your hand. Yet before you allow your blood to join the blood of your father and elder brother, you ask your late grandfather aloud. Will he give you his blessing to become a part of him? Will he allow you to join the Brante blood tide? You hear Stefan's indignant sigh. He does not say a word, however. Your words are a token of respect for Grandfather and his will. Should you obtain his blessing, Stefan will not defy the late Brante patriarch. Yes, respect for Grandfather, that's why we're doing it, and not to gain the system at all. Brante blood tide now opening for the Dropkick Murphys. It is such a metal phrase. Then suddenly, you all freeze. Each of you hears your late grandfather speak to you. His voice is loud as it rings in the depths of the crypt, and yet he speaks to each of you separately. So what? You're telling me he died the true death, we celebrated a bunch, and he's still not actually gone? We have to deal with him?
You had the courage to ask me for my blessing? Well, so be it. You deserve an answer. To me, you are not incorrigible. You are half lowborn. Yet you may make a worthy nobleman someday. I shall allow you to join my blood tide. But know this. I'll be watching you always, and my shadow will follow you forever. Do not let me down, boy.
Grandfather's voice falls silent. Just came back through the veil for one last time to be a bitch. You glance at your father and brothers astonished. Save for Stefan, everyone else is dumbfounded as well. You have Grandfather's blessing. You hold your hand above the opening in the wall, your blood drips into the duct, and flows further into the crypt as it combines with the blood of your father and brother. Nathan's turn comes. Your younger brother hesitates. Father offers him help, but Nathan shakes his head. Finally, he makes a cut, and Nathan's blood mixes with yours in the duct of the crypt. If you were ever going to speak back through the veil, it would be to sass someone, we stand vamp happy. Okay, your first point, correct. That is the best use of being a god, is just to be a dick to people. But we do not stand that man, because he was awful, and tried to set fire to our house while we were in it. And everything else that he did. The ritual is complete. Stefan reverently kisses the grip of Grandfather's sword and places it in the alcove above the sarcophagus. Once all's done, you leave the crypt together. Cool, fresh wind blows in your face as you return to the surface. Father stops halfway to the carriage and hugs Nathan and you briefly. Now your blood belongs to the dynasty of Sir Gregor Brante as well. I think you missed most of the time Gramps was on screen. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, he was terrible for his entire life. Spent it all being massively classist, insulting our mother, tried to burn the house down with us in it, and then we challenged him. And then we tried to stop him, and he responded to that by just dying. Yeah, he was the worst. Only one you got was this Postmortem Sass, also a good band name. Yep. Okay. Father is sympathetic to us. Stefan is affectionate to us. Approval fills me with shame. We join the blood tide. Event has happened. Can we leverage Stefan's affection to murder him? I can only hope. I mean, we already ruined his relationship, so that's funny. Would that be inappropriate? Do I care? Both good questions. One better than the other. The Fugitive Girl. The Fugitive Girl sounds like it should be a well-regarded yet ponderous feature-length anime film. Grandfather's passing and last respects have left a mark on the entire family. His words relayed from the hereafter keep echoing in your mind. You still do your best to avoid the memory of Grandfather's last night, and spend more time on the city streets with Thomas and your other classmates. The road by the house reminds you of another clash with death. Sometimes as you walk along that road you recall Sophia, the beautiful girl with the wonderful eyes and the terrifying, thundering hooves. You have not seen Sophia since that fateful day. The children who live nearby say her parents sent her to a rich Arknian family, the Ottons, as a servant. Brante sounds like a brand of kitchen appliances. Yeah, you're not wrong. This is an ominous music box we've got going. The sun has set. The pillar shines palely in the dark sky. Thomas is ill, so you decide to visit him and tell him the latest news. What is the latest news, book? The streets seem oddly agitated tonight, full of horses, cloaked men, strange faces and hushed voices. A young nobleman in a heavy embroidered cloak is walking back and forth, clutching at his sword nervously. There's a grimace of rage on his delicate blue face. He's an Arknian. Yes, thank you for the stretch and hydrate reminders. How'd the trial go? We convinced our father to actually tell the truth. Our grandfather was massively annoyed, but then he's now dead, so that's funny. It's not been good for our family reputation, but at least we all like each other more now. Yes, Gregor died and there was much rejoicing. You missed that. You overhear voices. Sir Otten, the girl's not at home. We searched the house. Her parents swear she ran away from home too. They claim they wanted to bring her back. Just do whatever it takes. Turn this loathsome district upside down if you must. Bring my servant back to me. She's here. Dorius Otten, there's a name. Sophia ran away from an Arknian? How can this be? There's only one place on the entire street where a person could hide, the abandoned Moral House, 4 houses away from yours. You head there, doing your best not to attract attention. The lopsided house, built of yellow brick, has been abandoned for 20 years or so. You remember playing there as a boy. You glimpse a figure inside even before you enter. A pair of eyes glimmer in the dark. One moon circles. No. You would recognise them even after another 4 years. Sophia has grown up. She's almost an adult now, and her face is full of fear. She's not the easygoing girl next door that you remember. She finally recognises you. Okay, point of order. When Sophia died, the book said, and I quote, You never speak to Sophia again. You lied to me, book. Lies. Good timing to come back. Well, we're gonna hit break in a minute, so...
Oh, it's you, Emilio. Be quiet. They're all looking for me. I ran away from the youngest Otten. I might be in for a lesser death here. But I'd rather die than spend another day in their slavery. I'm just a thing to him, just a toy to play with.
Sophia winces and closes her mouth as she says this. There's a glint of bright yellow deep in her eyes.
I ran to my parents. I told them all about the men I had to serve, and they went and alerted the Ottons. They don't want to be the target of their ire, but you aren't going to tip them off, are you?
Barking and shouting are getting closer. Sophia's voice grows quiet. She runs off to the darkest corner of the house before you can answer. One of Otten's servants is so close you can hear his cloak swishing against the ground. Yeah, I have thoughts of what the yellow in her eyes might mean, given the last person we had referred to with sparks in their eyes. But we shall see. He notices something and calls for the others. There are more voices around you now. They approach the house from the yard and surround it. One of them seems particularly snappy, annoyed, and impatient. You already heard this voice today. If you're in there, girl, you'd be wise to come out and quit wasting my time. All will be forgiven, and you will go back where you were. You know it. And if you don't, I'll drag you out by the hair. The hilt of the young Artnian's sword bashes at the door. He's about to lose his patience for good. Sophia hugs the wall in the dark, trying to stay still. She glances at you. What will you do? Your heart's racing. Can you act against the Artnian's orders? Do you have the gall to defy the mighty nobleman? So, it seems like no. We can only protect her if we saved her from dying before. We can just immediately knock, and Sophia will hate us, but Dorius Arton will give us some respect. We can't help her flee because we're not ingenious enough. Or we can just hide. Get some willpower back. Sophia will be unimpressed. I don't love that the two choices we have. So you know what we're going to do for now is ignore them, because it's time for a break. So again, I need to run some ads and just get up and move around and have some water. Recommend all of you do the same thing. Move around, have a drink, have a snack, take your meds if you need to. This is a reminder. I don't know if I reminded you before, but you should do it anyway. Yeah. Say hello to somebody other than me, because I'm not going to see it, because I won't be at my computer. And yeah, let the ads run, and I will be back in a few minutes. Love you all. See you in a few. And I'm back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this book where our two options are be useless or be a narc. Again, the game desperately wants to make me meet a girl, but no, I would much rather have the willpower than be a narc. You swiftly turn away from Sophia's desperate gaze and flee to cower in a dark corner. A pained sigh reaches your ears. I knew it. You do not respond. You need to hide. The front door slams open, heavy footsteps echo from the entrance. The irate Archnian strides right past your hiding place, paying you no heed whatsoever. Where are you, you little tramp? There's no hiding from me. A shadowy figure streaks past you. Sophia? A high-pitched, furious scream slices through the silence. A blinding golden flash explodes in front of you. A sudden cascade of sparks, very loud, burning through the darkness. As you blink, stunned, Otten's tall figure freezes and suddenly collapses. Yep, thought this might be it. Remember, the last person we saw being referred to with lights in their eyes was that witch child that then caught fire and we had to rugby tackle. The golden sparks are still dancing before your eyes. Sudden pain seems to rupture your skull from the inside. Been there. Through the light and the pain, you barely catch a glimpse of Sophia as she dashes past the Pronarchnian and runs out the door. Can't spell Pronarchnian without narc. It takes Otten a few long moments to regain his senses. He gets up with a curse and runs after Sophia. So she's a witch too, huh? Get her! Now! You hear men running, shouting, and barking orders on the other side of the wall. You lie there, on a pile of old bricks, rubbing your eyes. Strange stupor slowly leaves you. You get to your feet and walk unsteadily out of the abandoned house. The danger's past. You walk back home, lost in thought. So, Sophia is a witch? You recall how her magic bound Otten by the arms and legs, how he lost all control of his body. The runaway servant girl becomes the talk of the district for an entire week. You hear that Sophia's managed to flee the city. The Ottens are furious. Sophia vanished from your life just as suddenly as she came. We won't see her again for quite some time. I mean, I don't know if I believe you, game. You said I'd never talk to her again. After what you did, Sophia realized that the world is cruel and does not deserve to be spared. Excuse me? If she's going to start the apocalypse, I personally am not taking blame for that. That's on her. But hey, we got some willpower, so we're ready for action, and action sounds like it's coming. And finally, we turn 15. Did I technically talk to her? Fair point, actually, yeah. Damn it, why must you come in here with sense, and logic, and words? You're about to turn 15. Just one step away from adulthood. Mother's acting anxious at dinner today, barely touching her food. You exchange glances with Gloria. She carefully tells you that she wants to go to the tailor. Mother shudders and her hands clench into fists.
No, don't you dare leave home today. I forbid it. That dirty heretic Fotis is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Twins willing, I don't want you to hear any of that.
You and Gloria glance at each other again. Fotis, he's a patriarch, the head of the clergy throughout the entire province. That's the first time you've heard Mother speak like this about a priest, especially such a high-ranking one. Once you leave the dinner table, Gloria comes to your room with a cunning expression on her face, like she's about to play a trick on someone. She has a plan. The two of you should sneak out of the house and go to the silver tree. You simply must hear that sermon for yourself. What's so bad about Patriarch Fotis? Why does Mother hate him so much? You two are grown-ups now, surely you have the right to know. I'm still 14. You agree with your sister, because we're 14. Together you sneak out from under your mother's watchful eye and hurry to the silver tree. The temple block is full of people from all ranks and estates. There's barely enough room for you to squeeze through the crowd. The crowd's gathered around the very roots of the tree. Gloria suggests that you climb up to the roof of a nearby building so you can hear and see everything better. Not a moment too soon. From the roof you see a tall, silver-haired priest step onto the platform by the tree, dressed in the common black robe that looks far beneath his rank. Yet he stands like a noble before the crowd. Behind his back is a banner flapping in the wind. The open book. This is the symbol of the new faith, the crowd whispers. The patriarch holds his hands up to the sky, and the entire temple block grows quiet. He begins his sermon, his vibrant voice rolling across the square. Fotis speaks of a great mistake. We entrusted ourselves to the lots as the only way to fulfill divine providence in this world, but for all these years the will of the twins has been interpreted for us by a single man, Prophet Isatius. The twins are ever watching from atop the shining pillar, of this we have no doubt, but how can we so blindly believe that we truly follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Isatius fail again and again to answer the question of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lot in life again and again without being smitten by divine wrath? Every person born, whether human or Archnean, lowborn or noble, must find their lot and their way to the gods on their own. Fotis speaks of a great mistake, the one his mother made, naming him Fotis. Wow, harsh. From now on, we will seek the gods in the accounts of their own lives, in their own acts in this world, and in their own words as they echo within us. And as we heed the voice of the twins within, we will each find their path for us on our own. So this is just the Great Schism. The crowd at the Silver Tree listens to the Patriarch's speech in stunned silence. You glance at your sister, her eyes glisten with tears as she hears Fotis' words. Then suddenly a hoarse cry rises from the crowd.
If there are no lots, does that mean the nobles are going to till the fields and the commoners are going to bear arms?
It sounds quite a lot like the voice of your grandfather, because I had to improvise. The crowd begins to murmur. The Patriarch raises an arm and inhales, ready to answer. An odd figure leaps from the crowd onto the platform, a dirty beggar dressed in rags. A knife flashes in his hand. The blade slices. Blood starts spurting from Fotis' throat. He slumps over. Collapses. A dark brown puddle spreads across the platform where he had stood. Gloria clutches her mouth to suppress a shriek. Fotis nuts. That doesn't even work! A few moments of stunned silence and then the screams begin. The people are frantic. The temple guards try to restore order in the crowd, but to no avail. An old woman dressed in an inquisitor's cassock tries in vain to apply pressure to the patriarch's wound. The nobles draw their swords. Dogs are barking. The crowd is pushing and shoving. Children are crying. The entire square by the tree is in chaos. Dark brown puddle, I think, is just meant to be like the colour of blood on wood. But hey, interpret it as you will. Or he has kidney failure, yeah. From the roof you see the moment when people start trampling each other, howling, praying, shouting. Gloria tugs on your sleeve. Time to go. You climb down from the roof and run. I don't know, staying at roof level seems like a better idea, but, you know, you. You return home without exchanging a word. Mother has been in her room all the while, so no one noticed your absence. Gloria locks herself in her room. You do not discuss the things you've just seen, they're too frightening. But your parents discuss every little detail of the bloodstained sermon over dinner.
This is unbelievable. Patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarme and the Archduke's guards have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggar has disappeared without a trace. Can't even imagine a more gruesome crime. Fotis has died a true death, never to return from the hereafter.
Wow. Just saying here, just this mysterious disappearing murderous beggar who was dressed in a look at me I'm a beggar costume. Can you spell conservative false flag? Just saying. This really feels like the kind of preacher that the government would take down traditionally. But how? Why can't the Patriarch be reborn? He's so close to the twins.
Such is the way of the world, my children. Once you're granted great power by the twins' will, there's no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your deaths.
Hashtag satire. Yep.
Emperors, their powerful vassals, heads of great Arcanian dynasties, patriarchs of the church, none of them are destined to be reborn.
Fotis is gone forever. If his soul was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him upon the peak of the pillar? We must pray for the patriarch, children. Let us hope he managed to return to the true old faith before the moment of his passing.
Ah, who doesn't love deathbed recanting? Not a thing that's ever been used badly. But there's little hope for that. So the old faith is getting weaker, and we are falling into discontent. The last night of the proms. Tomorrow you turn 16. According to Imperial law, you'll be a full adult. Your time at Sir Tibor's school has ended. You've studied enough to apply for the Imperial College and learn the judge's trade there. You're to travel to Eterna tomorrow. Your friend Thomas will go there with you to try his luck in the Imperial capital. Mother and father prepare you for the long journey.
Remember, son, there's only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and fervour to be ennobled by the mantle as I was, and as my late father was before me. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one to write the name Brante in the Blue Book, and ensure that your children's children will be noble by birth.
How old is our protagonist? Just about to turn 16. No, just about to turn 15? Or is it... Anyway. Yeah, we are about 15. That last scene was just before we turned 15. I don't know if this is also meant to be that. Then Mother speaks to you carefully. There's worry in her eyes. Yeah, just telling this 15-year-old you have to make it into graduate school and have kids so that they can have kids so that we can all be nobles. Yeah, a little bit.
But Robert, there may be another path for our son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Brante family. Your second son bears the favour of the twins. For him, the path of the priest is a worthy calling, no less than a nobleman's sword.
Really, Mother? What sign has there ever been that I had the favour of the twins? I mean, I had that vision of them that one time and shouted heresy at them. They've been arguing about your future for a while now. Still, she would never defy the will of a nobleman, her husband. You smile at them both, trying to placate them. Gloria laughs quietly behind their backs.
Just don't become a snoot like Stefan and you'll be fine.
Mother chides Gloria for that. You wink at your sister. Nathan has been downcast all evening. He barely touched his dinner. When everyone gets up from the table, he suddenly rushes over to embrace you.
Please don't go, Emilio. Can't you stay? I don't know what I'm going to do without you.
You tousle his hair in response. There's no way you can stay now, you say. But when you come home, and you will come home, you'll tell him all your stories and bring him a special present from Eterna. That's where He-Man's from. This is it. All your lessons have been learned. All your things have been packed for the road. You'll leave the family home tomorrow. Tonight is your last night at home before your departure. You walk through the rooms one last time. The sitting room where Mother used to read you fairy tales. The library where Gloria used to spend all her time. Father's study, which you entered only on special occasions. The backyard where you taught Nathan to build towers one summer. The whole place feels so familiar, so dear to you. Feels like home. You lived here for 16 years. Will you ever return? It's getting late. Everyone's already in their rooms, but you hesitate. Father, Mother, Gloria, Nathan. It'll be a long time before you see them again. Who will you spend your last few hours at home with? So we can't do it with Father because we don't have a good enough relationship with him. Oh, that would give us, like, 2 nobility as well. So we could get 2 spirituality from Mother, which would push us over 4, which was another one of the achievements. Could we sneak that in just under the wire before this section ends? Spend time with Gloria, get some ingenuity. Spend the time with Nathan, get a bunch of willpower back. Why is Nathan just always the easy option? Fine, let's see what this is let's see why Mother thinks we're God-touched. Let's get our spirituality up. Clearly written by an only child, yeah. You open the door to Mother's room. She's kneeling in prayer. Her back's to the door and her whispers fill the room. She turns around and smiles gently when she hears your footsteps. You want to spend tonight with her before you leave. Mother reaches out to you.
Come with me, Emilio. There's no need for anybody else to hear us.
Slightly creepy way to start, Mum, but go off. You walk silently downstairs, enter the empty sitting room, and light the candles.
You're so close to the gods, my son. I knew it as soon as you were born. I saw them watching over you closely. Let us pray together, my son. May the twins know you honor their every touch.
Cue Every Time We Touch by Cascade. Or don't. You stand by Mother's side as she whispers prayer after prayer. First, she offers gratitude for the life and lot you've been granted. Then a plea to show you your path through the world, for it has no mercy. Next, a promise to heed and obey their every call. There is such fervour in her prayers, such piety. You know for certain as you pray with her that the gods will provide for you. They will ensure that your path is true, for there is no other way. The sun is about to rise. You should rest before the long trip, but you're not tired at all. On the contrary, you feel lucid and clear-headed. Mother embraces you once the prayers are done. Yeah, that kind of run as high off doing something all night will fade soon. You will sit in the carriage and die.
My son, life is hard, but it is just. Also for those who follow their lot. Remember, be humble in your words and work hard.
I mean, if I was planning to be humble in my words, would I have this nobility score of 7? Don't think so. But before you go, Mother removes a pendant with the twins' cross and puts it around your neck. Life is hard, but it is just, is it? You return to your room and get into bed. You can see the shining pillar from the window, glowing gently against the twilight morning sky. All your worries about the long journey are no more. You feel calm and serene. And soulful. Departure from home. No, I don't think we did sneak that accomplishment in under the wire. Oh well. You leave the family home for a long time. Your future awaits you in Eterna, capital of the Empire. By the power of Brante. The end of adolescence. Last night was your final night at home. The carriage is now waiting at the gate, ready to take you to the capital. The clip-clopping of the idle hooves against the cobblestones count the seconds before your departure. You take one more look at your parents' house, and recall your childhood spent there, in the nearby yards, at your school, and on the winding streets of Anizot. You clashed with the greater world around you and survived. You felt the tingle of emotion for the first time. You were taught by the school and the streets. You explored the city of your birth and learned something of its past. You witnessed firsthand events that will be remembered by history for all time. But you didn't meet a girl, no matter how much the game wanted you to meet a girl. All of this is yours now. Forever. You saw death. Lesser death, followed by rebirth, and the true death that takes and never gives back. You saw death lying in wait to strike the unaware like a beast stalking its prey. You saw grandfather's angry grimace lit by the flickering fire of the lamp, the Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and your older brother's bloodied sword slicing through the air. Death has followed you from a very young age. Is that what the shadowy figure we saw behind the twins in that vision we had when we were born was? And yet, you live on. You have a friend who has been by your side all these years. Thomas taught you many things. How to take a hit, how to keep your word, and how to remain true to your own self. And now, Thomas is walking to the same carriage as you are with a heavy bag slung over his shoulder. Your friend will remain your companion for the time being. Ahead of you is a long trip towards the capital and adulthood. For the first time, you will be away from your family and home. What awaits you in the future? The flickering fire of the lamp and the flickering fire of your house? No, because we managed to stop him burning the house down. It was great. And he died, which was better. End of chapter 2. Yes, we just read a better version of that. Personal qualities were accumulated in adolescence. All of your qualities from childhood and adolescence will now convert into adult qualities. So dignified, slow, and soulful. Like smooth jazz. We have 5 willpower left over, and we still have not died. So that's nice. And we now move on to youth, which I would have classified the other ones as part of youth, but hey.
Leaving my hometown behind,
I forgot these.
I set out for the capital of the Empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
I still find those little bits of voiceover intensely weird. Like, no disrespect to the VA, but there's a weird cadence to it that does sound like he's a TikTok voice. Leaving home. The driver flicks the reins. Which took my brain a minute to remember what that was and speak English, because I was just like, the driver flicks his kidneys? No. No, the reins, not le rein. Occasionally other languages just poison my brain. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from your home. You stick your head out the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You've often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It's a city that surpasses Anizot enormously in terms of size, age, wealth and beauty. What's it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there? And where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Anizot. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. You're 16! Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from Street Antics. Street Antics is a good wrestling tag team name. Fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you. But they're behind you now, and that is odd. From this point on, only you will decide which road you will take. Street and Tix, what, the Norwegian DJ? This is the... He's not a DJ, he's a singer, anyway. This is the journey you've prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lie many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate and your place in society. New personal qualities. So they're the sum of the qualities that you gained in childhood and adolescence. For most skill checks, you need between 10 and 16. 17 to 19 are required for rare and especially difficult choices. The maximum value of 20 only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed. Well, that's ominous. So our perception and ability are summed into our diplomacy of 8. I mean, I assume that these numbers are going to go up. Most important to the judge. Perception and ingenuity become our manipulation of 2. Most important to the conspirator, which sounds like a bad thing for us to do. Perception and spirituality become my theology of 5. Important to the Inquisitor. Determination and nobility become our valor of 15. Sword. Most important to the judge. Determination and ingenuity become our scheming of 9. Important to the conspirator. Determination and spirituality become our eloquence of 12. Inquisitor. Yeah, so it's looking like probably our best route, if assuming that the way these are being presented as the 3 routes, would be like... Because judge is valor and diplomacy. Inquisitor isn't bad if we decided to go into that. Theology and eloquence. Interesting. I assume we'll be able to increase these stats, because otherwise how would we have 10 to 16 through a lot of them? So, life paths we'll choose from. The path of the Lotless, remain a commoner. The path of the Priest, enroll in the seminary, which we can do because we have eloquence of at least 10. Or the path of the Nobleman, which we can do with our intense amount of valor. Enroll in the Imperial College. Or we can just die. Either die 4 times or just accept true death. Just, nah, hit me up, fam. Things that can happen in our personal life. Aelis's rescue. Who's Aelis? The enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice. Okay. The collapse of the Lotless, who are a secret society. Oh, is that the secret society we never found in the last chapter? The Lotless at large. Rescue them. Continue our activities in the capital, but we would need manipulation of more than like the 2 we have. Form an unbreakable bond of friendship with Thomas. What, we can marry Thomas? Is that what this is? Just get our civil partnership? Side with the new faith, for which we have to become a priest, and reform the church. Shield with the old faith, side with the old faith, be a priest, and do that. And victory in the tournament. Prevail over every opponent in the Imperial College tournament, so we need to go to college, but we took the fencing lesson, so this might be the way we go just to pay off that one decision we made way back in the dawn of time. Personal qualities here, yeah, so we've got these things we just covered. Let's go. That was it. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think we might be going for the judge route, but we shall see. Reforming the church does sound fun, but, you know, Chekhov's fencing lesson and all that. Arrival in the capital. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Thomas spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from the familiar, barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. No, that's the strong wine.
Soon, I tell you, soon we'll be there, and I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted into the military academy, you'll see. Then nobody's going to walk all over me like I'm some commoner.
You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you're almost at the end of your long journey. You've left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Arknea. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. Situated at the junction between the Reglata and Talrina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its 3 shores interconnected. So, what, like Belgrade? Smooth stone paves the main city streets. Gilded mouldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Arknean coats of arms, and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Thomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You're left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk past. They're dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You're not even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are the sounds of music and fountains, and the smells of baked bread and garbage drains. You quietly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun is setting. The streetlights come to life, merry music fills the taverns. Couples and noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You are all alone with this city so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You don't have to front-load everything, my dude. The city will still be there tomorrow. Probably. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They're about your age, their clothes are hand-tailored, and 2 of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. It might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music, very loud, from a large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems there will be a gathering inside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you better get inside quickly. I'm just going to turn the sound effects down a little. They're very loud. That's better. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here at the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teachings of Patriarch Photis? You snap out of your reverie when you hear loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colours of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They're making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It's an invitation to join them. Is it? That may be reading too much into a smile. Just saying, my guy. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly loud fun doesn't sound half bad. This is your first night in Eterna. No matter what you choose, you'll remember it for a long time to come. So noble youths would take some willpower, give me diplomacy and manipulation. Diplomacy would be good for going into judging. Listen to the speech, give us manipulation and eloquence. Go to the temple, theology and eloquence, which are both priest qualities, or run after the students to get a bunch of willpower back. Yeah, 5 willpower isn't a lot, and let's just immediately party. Just full on, arrive in Eterna, Andrew WK it, it'll be great. The students' merriment is infectious. You join their group. They're almost your age, maybe 1 or 2 years older. You see so many faces, and soon you're in a tavern somewhere in the city. Oh god, we're gonna get robbed. Getting to know so many people at a massive table. So many people, you don't even bother to remember their names now, and the wine, it flows like water. A lively tune is playing in the tavern. A girl just a little bit older than you pulls you off your seat to dance. Her dress is unbuttoned a bit more than it's supposed to be. She smells of wine and honey. You copy her motions in the dance as your hand clasps her waist. It slides lower of its own accord. She pulls away suddenly and stares into your eyes and then kisses you on the lips. You're startled at first, but soon you respond to the kiss as you pull her soft, supple body even closer to you. God! Game! I made it through that whole last section without meeting a girl, and now you're just immediately like, bam! Girl! And you start making out because we say so. What if I was playing Emilio as gay? Honestly, game, why don't you give me that option? You spend all night dancing, only returning to the table to catch your breath and quench your thirst. The girl keeps embracing you and laughing and pouring even more wine into your glasses. You feel at ease, you feel carefree. You feel happy. You do not remember returning to the lodging house. Your head and legs are aching in the morning. You can barely remember the names of last night's companions. After some consideration, you choose to remain in bed for the rest of the new day. Valuable. We arrived in Eterna, the ancient capital of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Luke's sermon. You spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. Oh look, book. They're full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walks through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner of the new faith, an open book. This is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Photis on the day of his assassination. I mean, probably not the same banner. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting on a small pedestal, depicting a grey-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognise that face, the face of the late Patriarch Photis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak, with the coat of arms of the capital province embroidered on it. It's Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. He casts his stern gaze over the crowd.
I speak to all who live within the sight of the Shining Pillar. Exactly 1 year ago we lost Photis, Patriarch of the Magra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Photis was the first to see the books of Isatius, are nothing but the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path to the gods in their own hearts, instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answer in the lives of the twins and their own hearts, rather than the words of priests. Through Patriarch Photis we were able to see the truth. Through his death we saw that his words are not heresy. They are the truth that used to be obscured by Isatius' lies. Now I bring good news. Patriarch Unius Diamant has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes, Unius Diamant, an Archnian from a great dynasty, and the Patriarch of Astinia, has joined the new faith himself. And through this, we hope that the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth, and one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers.
Because he was from everywhere. The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermon forms a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. To be fair, this is very appropriate for a 16-year-old goes to the big city, is immediately seduced by everything. You recall the murder of Patriarch Photis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Unius Diamond joining the new faith is stunning. If an Archneum from a great dynasty has sided with Photis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots, which is ironic given the way you saw it set up. But suddenly several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black with glinting silver on their sides. Inquisitors. They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of these priests rises before the crowd, that's a word. He's clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. It sounds like that, apparently.
I am Father Ulrich. In the name of the twins and by my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once.
Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however, and some even shout angrily. We want to listen to Luke. He's the Patriarch of Archnia, and he has more to say. Get away from our sermon, old believers. We'll not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots. Why did... Random voice in the crowd is broadly West Country. Look, sometimes words happen and I see a big bag of accents and stick my hand in and that's what you get.
Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of faith.
The black-clad Inquisitors descend from the podium and approach the people who chose to stay. Nothing but their words. They make people stop shouting and start listening. Okay, weird that we're just framing the militant arm of the theocracy like that. They were all very good and liberal. The uproar ceases quickly. They've dissected the crowd, split it in smaller groups that surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He's a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eye as his lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. I do feel like the Old Faith has, to be fair, both of the sides of the faith have a certain amount of compulsion magic going on. Because things keep coming up where priests start talking and we just find ourselves compelled.
My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You're not sure whom to trust. I teach at the seminary. I've been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know you can hear what I have to say. I see there light in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son?
You feel no malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah. Only hope. It's his lot to aid you, to guide you away from error and set you on the path of the true faith. He's a priest, so he should know the truth.
Well, perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong.
Oh, good time for a stretch and hydrate reminder, thank you. So, we can listen to his counsel and get better at theology. We can debate me, coward, and get better at eloquence. Or we can say no and get more diplomacy. And given that our stats appear to be pushing us towards the judge path, more diplomacy would be good. So, no, screw you, priest. This seems to be, like, a lot of this game so far has been the world presenting Emilio with options and him saying no. Denied. You strike a pose of authority, whatever that looks like, and I, Father Jeremiah, sharply. Inquisitors cannot order people around, you say? It's not within the lot of the clergy, only nobles can give you orders. The other commoners look at you in terror. You've just defied an inquisitor. However, Father Jeremiah still looks at you without any of the anger you'd expected.
My son, your words do indeed contain a germ of truth. I am an inquisitor of the clergy, and by the will of the twins, I cannot give you any orders. But know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet.
Pose of authority is Tory stance. Ugh. Ugh.
Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I'm merely speaking to you right now. I'm not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders, although I am getting more Northern Irish as I speak. But if the need arises, I will summon the champions of faith, nobles who will be there to give orders and punish those who defy the church. But as long as you are not calling for the overthrow of faith, you're safe from them. And as you said, it's not within my lot to give you orders. You're free to go. But expect no mercy in the hereafter. After we die, there will be none.
With a bitter smile, the Inquisitor leaves you and proceeds further. I should just start ending conversations with expect no mercy in the hereafter. Yeah, exactly. I'm not defying the church, I'm defying you, my dude. You leave the square freely, your dignity preserved. The remaining people in the square continue arguing with the other Inquisitors. Armed champions of faith stand nearby, but they do not intervene. Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. Only one thing keeps nagging at you. Father Jeremiah's words about how there will be no mercy in the hereafter, which was a great Jay-Z album. (1134) Fall, the advance of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. That is generally how schisms do. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the Patriarch of Arknea himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Arknea, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Unius Diamant. Hailing from a great Arknean dynasty, he's the de facto ruler of Astynia province. Adored by his subjects, he's founded the Holy Order anew. That's just how schisms do is my favourite rap lyric. Yeah, it's a lyric off No Mercy in the Hereafter. Unius Diamant rarely preaches, but people believe the Astynian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. The schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there's been no direct conflict as of yet. But it's become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Photis, it grows stronger by the day. Oh, we are now openly in schism and discontent. No mercy in the hereafter, 1213. Yep. I mean, it's 1134, it says it right now. Just saying. The city that never sleeps is about to get sued over stealing that line. The next few weeks pass by in hard work and preparation for the coming entrance exam at the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it's high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It's another night, a different night, yet the city is beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the buildings are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Sorry, I know I keep glancing off. I'm just trying to watch my CPU numbers, which is still doing a thing. Probably not great for all my frames. Recently, you made the acquaintance of several young men. They're children and nobles of the mantle, just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club, where you can see the most skilled and ardent duelers in the Empire doing what they do best. You've never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lessons, or that fight in the ruins in Anizot. And if luck favours you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say, a young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and the identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They're forbidden to speak about this outside the club. However, they can take you there, as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth. First rule of Salon Club. There are others still, drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing, they say. Speeches? Nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Marchian Society, a gathering for those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offers pleasures for everyone. That's an outstanding tagline. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of drink, pleasures of the pleasures of the flesh. Is this not heresy and a crime? Perhaps. And yet, some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits in 3 to spend the night as they see fit. What will it be? A contest featuring the best fencers in Eterna? An establishment both mysterious and dangerous? Or an encounter with people who defy their lot with audacity? You weigh your options. So, Dueling Club will give us Valor. Our group is split in Thrain. Go to the Secret Salon for scheming, or the Marchian Society for theology, question mark? Okay. Nah, let's just lean on the stats we're going for. Basically, I'm aiming to win that tournament, so all of my points at the minute are going into stab. There's so much content in this game that branches a lot. You march down the street towards the Dueling Club, which is located in a manor house, decorated rather modestly on the outside, but lavishly on the inside. 1 second, audio will go for a moment. I just need to snooze my ads, because I don't know if we'll be finished quite in time. On Twitch. Thank you. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants, and they let you in. The rooms are stuffy, noisy, and filled with tobacco smoke. The sitting room is enormous. In the centre is an arena, a circle with wooden railings. 2 young nobles are fighting there already. You take a glass of wine from a servant and watch the fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch. As soon as the jeweller is wounded, the fight ends, but the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a jeweller is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirt. The thin fencing swords cut through the air so quickly, you only see glints of flashing steel like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They'll come in handy when you own your own sword. But then a tall young Archnean enters the room, who barges in from behind you and leaps into the arena between the 2 fencers, thus ending the duel. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Archnean hails from the great dynasty of Orgriff. The Archnean's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. He sneers smugly. You consider yourself nobles, and how about you face an Archnean lord in honourable combat? No one moves. No one dares to step forth. A duel with an Archnean is suicide, especially if that Archnean hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or with a true death through trial and execution at worst. Everyone knows the punishment for spilling blue blood, and so everyone remains silent. The Archnean grins. So, humans are cowards, he says. You'll never be true nobles if you're never ready to risk a lesser death. Then Archnean honor and tradition is not for you. War is not your domain either. For human nobles are but a mockery, a gathering of animals dressed to resemble higher beings. Are nobles not human? Well, I think what he's saying is that the only true nobles are Archneans who aren't human. A man leaps onto the arena. He's as tall as a tree. His pockmarked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There are whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Ferasti, the owner of the club. You know, like out of Fire Emblem. Yes, Archneans are a different species, hence, when they say spilling blue blood, they mean it literally. They are blue. And the Emperor has been alive for like 2 centuries. So they are decidedly not human. He's accepted the challenge for the honour of all human nobles. He's yearned to fight an Archnean all his life, and now is his chance. The duellers salute each other, and Sir Ferasti begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and then another. The young Archnean deflects each attack like he knows his opponent's every move. Sir Ferasti's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Archnean deflects his sword and rips the weapon out of the human's hands. Marth Ferasti looks at the Archnean in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of his defeat. The Orgriff youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his defeated opponent. It bears 3 black marks of lesser death. Now the young Archnean eyes Sir Ferasti with a mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the poor, overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Well, Ferasti shudders. He asks the Orgriff youth to be so kind as to spare his life, nobleman to a nobleman. The Archnean's face grows dark and grim. His sword stabs deep into Ferasti's chest. Then the Orgriff youth speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in this hall, he says, and everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed and leave this place, never to return. Can the Archneans detect how many deaths humans have left? It's been mentioned, that you get black stripes on your arm for each one. Yeah, it's been it would be mentioned more, for example, had we died, but it's been alluded to. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave with quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Archnean openly. The noble gathering disperses outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Archneans stand far above humans. They do not care if you're a commoner or a high-ranking noble. In their eyes, you're only a human. It seems there is nothing that can readily oppose Archnean power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them at best. The trip to the dueling club ended on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching Eterna's best duelers in action. Duelers, not jewelers. You recall their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than the master of the dueling club being merged in cold blood. Look, we're now a dangerous enemy. We will do the stabby stab. 11:35. We are 17. Yeah, we've got time for another story or two. You're on your way to the 11:35. Spring the Code of Laws. You're on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entry exams. It's right next to the college. The streets are full of people, everybody is excited. You hesitate for a few seconds, then let your curiosity get the better of you, and head towards the place where you will soon study. Before long you hear the shouting. The Great Chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the Empire. You cannot possibly miss this. You mix with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what's about to unfold. On the steps of the college, you see a small tribune, guarded by 2 Archneans armed with swords. This is the first time you've ever seen an Archnean standing guard, let alone 2 of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Archnean surrounded by an honor guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempest, Great Chancellor of the Empire, younger brother to the Emperor himself. He heads for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It's full of people in awe and utter silence. Long ago, humans witnessed the Archneans' arrival. 2 nations built the Empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Archnean Empire. Yet there was another great event long before that. 1,000 years ago, the twins had graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love and their law, and they granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the Empire, and from that day forth our dynasty has ruled this land ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins not to seek power for power's sake, but rather to lead the Empire to further prosperity. And so the Great Imperial Council is soon to review and adopt a new set of laws called the Creed. Under the Creed, all estates will be granted rights. Under the Creed, there will be one law for all Imperial citizens to obey, human or Archnean, from the lowliest commoner to the Emperor himself. The strife among the estates will end. A single law will resolve all of our quarrels. Glory to the Empire! Yes, because class stratification has, never persisted even when it's no longer technically enforced by law, right? Looks around Britain. The Great Chancellor throws his arms into the air. The crowd murmurs and applauds in approval. Cornelius Tempest casts another look over the crowd and leaves. The crowd disperses. The sounds of agitated discussion are everywhere. Is it true that the Emperor's dynasty seeks to grant equal rights to all estates? What will happen to the Empire then? Power swings towards the commoners. Yeah, we've got time. Probably the last one, though. The girl from your past. It's early morning. You've been awake since sunrise, studying. There's a knock at the door. Is it a letter from home, or a hotel servant? You open the door and freeze, stunned.
Hello, Brante.
The game keeps telling us she disappears, and then she keeps turning up again. Before you stands Sophia, the girl who used to live next door. She's all grown up now. She looks so different. But you would always recognize those blue eyes, no matter what. You gesture for her to come in. Sophia enters the room, glances around, and sits in an armchair. You eye the girl you used to know as you sit across from her. But the young woman you see now has little in common with the girl you used to know. There is cold steel in the way she looks at things. Her hair is cut short. But what is she doing here?
I can explain. I've been living in Eterna for a long time now, ever since I ran from Anizot. I heard the other day that you'd left for the capital to get into the college, so I found you, and here I am.
Yeah, cute goat, yeah. You ask how Sophia learned about your arrival and where you're staying, but she answers your questions with an enigmatic smile.
We'll get to that later. Right now, I want to see how much you've changed since we last saw each other. As for me, I've changed a lot. I'm a whole different person now.
That could mean many things. You look away as you recall your previous encounter back when Sophia ran away from her Archnean master. Sophia chuckles as she continues.
Would you like to know what happened next? I traveled through the entire Empire all alone. I had nothing. My journey ended only when I reached this place, the capital with all its important people and events. This is the heart of the Empire. It's a place where I can make a difference. I've made friends here, found people I can truly call my family. I've even gotten an education of sorts. And I have a purpose now. I fight against injustice. I fight against the lots. I fight those who treat our lives like mud on the pavement. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that. I came to you for a good reason. I need help. I know you. I have faith in your good heart. And besides, this is also about the Imperial College you want to enroll in. There's a scholar there by the name of Bartholomew Dextra. Great name. He teaches natural sciences at the college. Dextra is an old man, but he's quite progressive. He'll stop at nothing to advance science and acquire new knowledge. As you know, only second-generation nobles or above are allowed to teach at the college. But Dextra, he's a commoner. He forged his patent of nobility to get a position at the college. But the secret chancellery recently learned of this. Dexter is about to face true death for this forgery. But how is that justice? A man wants to teach people, and for this they're going to take all his lives? They're going to punish him for the crime of being born in the wrong estate? It's evil and obscene, and I will not stand for it. Dextra deserves to be rescued. But I don't want to put anyone in danger, so I need your help. You're from a rich family, you're almost a noble. If you help me get Dextra out of the city, nobody will suspect anything. No one will know, and the scholar will live on to continue his research elsewhere, far away from the secret chancellery. Will you help me?
You feel perplexed by Sophia's sudden request. She's asking you to break Imperial law and undermine the work of the secret chancellery to save this scholar. Rescuing Dextra would be an adventure, but it would also be incredibly dangerous. And besides, Dextra's a fake noble who resorted to lies and deceit to get his current position. How much does this matter to you? Sophia's blue eyes are studying you, waiting for your reply. So, we can't do it to assuage our guilt because we did not in fact hand her over to Arden. We can refuse, get valor and diplomacy, both of which are the judge stats, but our relationship with Sophia gets even worse. Lies and deceit, something our protagonist has notably never done. Yeah, our scheming is not good. We get scheming and valor if we help. And we normalize our relationship with her somewhat. Yeah, this seems like a terrible idea. Plus, it just continues to be funny that they keep trying to set me up with a girl. No, you say, you're not going to help Sophia. You're not going to break any laws for her sake. She could become my childhood frenemy. I mean, she basically already is. You did not come to the capital for this? Dextra, a fake noble, deserves his fate. Wow, okay, we've gone a bit far. He tried to fool the law, the college, and the Empire itself. Even a scientific genius must be punished for such forgery and deception. I watched her die and she's never forgiven you. To be fair, I do keep being useless and a dick. He had a paper that said he was a noble, but only a sacrament can make a person a noble, so Dextra's crime is also an affront to the gods themselves. Wow, I have just straight in the deep end on this. Sophia leaps to her feet, her eyes burning with wrath, about to shine with yellow light again. Cringe involuntarily. Your law makes slaves of us all. We're born, we live, we die, all to serve those who were born in a higher estate. Is this the order you want to protect? Fire in Sophia's eyes fades. She suddenly grows silent, and then continues calmly. Then so be it. I don't blame you. It's not easy to break these chains when you've been wearing them ever since you were born. They bind you better than any magic. I hope you realize this before our great empire chews you and spits you out. Goodbye. Walking directly into twinsto-fascism. I like Gemino-fascism. Well, I don't like it, but it's a good word. Sophia leaves. The door shuts behind her. You return to your books. The entrance exam is coming up and you have to work hard if you want to achieve your goals. Again, Emilio has seen the plot coming and said, no. No. No plot. A few days later, a newspaper article catches your eye. Bartholomew Dextra, an elderly lecturer at the Imperial capital, was arrested while attempting to escape the capital. The scholar was sentenced to breaking on the wheel and subsequent true death for forging a patent of nobility. And so the fake noble suffered in death as he was supposed to suffer in life. Wow. It's possible to just say, no, I won't help you, rather than this man should be sentenced to death, but hey, whatever. But now we're a promising diplomat.
I will never forget that day. For it was then that I chose the path I would walk for the rest of my life.
And I think we know which path it's going to be. Forgot about the auto-tune bass. Yeah, it's a lot, appropriately. But that is where we are going to leave it. This game just continues to be a whole thing. Oh, I should talk quickly before my ads start. Anyway, it's just the wrap-up. Yeah, so that's all for today with the life and suffering of Brante. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for staying to the end, means a lot. If you've been watching this, you know how to find me, but just in case, this is twitch.tv/Serasent, that's SERASENT. I am talking quickly so that I'm not doing your stretch and hydrate and all that. talking quickly. The House of Hubris, broadcasting live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. British time. That is 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Other time zones are available. Do the maths. And if you don't want to do the maths, then why not just give us a follow and you'll get notified whenever I'm around. Slight amendment to that schedule. I will not be around on Saturday. I have a party to go to. You know when my sound alert has stopped working. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, I will be doing a thing on Saturday, so yeah, can't do that. I might stream on Sunday, or we might just skip to the Tuesday. Anyway, follow me and you'll find out. As the phrase now goes, question mark. If you miss anything, VODs are on Twitch for 8 weeks after the fact. For everything else, you can go to the YouTube. Link is down there. Says something relevant. Or it's youtube.com/@houseofhubris, where you can find VODs going back to the start of the channel. Lots of games there. See what you would enjoy, because it's been like 2.5 years of content. While you're there, why not subscribe? Doesn't cost you anything and gets you hot, fresh VODs in your subscription feed every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and now that's not a lie. If you want to support me falling into Gemino-fascism monetarily, then you can, of course, cheer or subscribe on Twitch. But you very much don't have to. Just turn up and hang out and be chill and be good to each other, and then everybody's having a good time. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, then for whatever reason, you should look on Twitter. Link is also down there, or it is Twitter @House of Hubris, where I do stream notifications and memes and all the things one does with a Twitter, and watch the world burn. And just as I'm about to stop talking, with like 10 seconds to go before this ad's meant to start, gift sub from Charities Lady. Congratulations, Chris Can. Thank you so much for the birthday sub. Parasocial torture. I mean, I'm not going to miss out, thanks to the ads, so get wrecked, question mark? But I think that's about covered everything anyway, so thank you all so much again for being here. This game is a trip, and I look forward to continuing said trip with all of you all on either Sunday or Tuesday. Like I say, keep an eye on the feeds to know when. Yeah. Love you all, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.